My name is Dr. Marcus Kellerman. I'm 54 years old, and for the past 12 years, I've carried a secret that has fundamentally changed how I view human history and our place in the universe. Today, I'm breaking the most restrictive non-disclosure agreement I've ever signed because humanity deserves to know what's really buried beneath the Antarctic ice. I was a glaciologist working for the International Antarctic Research Consortium. I thought I was going to study climate change. Instead, I became part of the most significant archaeological discovery in human history and the most dangerous cover-up of our time. What I'm about to tell you will challenge everything you've been taught about human civilization and whether we've truly been alone on this planet. But I have documentation, coordinates, and nothing left to lose. I joined the Antarctic Research Program in 2011, specializing in ice-penetrating radar and deep core drilling. The mission seemed routine. Operation Deep Freeze Extension, drilling deeper into the Antarctic ice sheet than anyone had ever attempted, supposedly looking for climate data from 2 million years ago. Our team consisted of 12 specialists from 6 countries. We set up base camp at coordinates 75 degrees 15 minutes south, 112 degrees 6 minutes east, approximately 400 kilometers inland from the Ross Ice Shelf. For the first 3 months of 2012, everything was normal. We drilled, extracted ice cores, analyzed samples. The work was brutal, minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit, devastating winds, but we were making unprecedented progress. By June 2012, we had reached 3.8 kilometers depth, deeper than anyone had gone before. That's when we hit something that wasn't ice. On June 23, 2012, at 2:47 a.m., our drilling equipment suddenly stopped. The drill bit had hit something solid, metallic. When we pulled up the core sample, we found fragments of manufactured material, smooth, dark metal with geometric patterns etched into its surface. Dr. Elena Vasquez, our metallurgist, ran every test possible. The material was incredibly dense, non-magnetic, showed no corrosion despite being embedded in ice for thousands of years, and had a crystalline structure that didn't match any known metal or alloy. The geometric patterns weren't random. They were clearly artificial, clearly designed by intelligence. We contacted our supervisors immediately. Within 6 hours, we received orders to cease drilling and wait for a specialized assessment team. I'd never seen bureaucracy move that fast. 3 days later, an unmarked military transport landed at our camp. Impossible, given our location and weather. The team that disembarked wasn't just scientists. There were military personnel, government officials, and individuals who wouldn't identify themselves. The team leader introduced himself only as Director Harrison and made it clear our discovery was now classified. All equipment was confiscated, samples, data, photographs, everything. We were told we could continue under strict supervision with signed NDAs that threatened lifetime imprisonment and treason charges. Most of the original team chose to leave. I stayed. I wish I hadn't. The new operation began in August 2012 with military-grade equipment I'd never seen. By October, we had melted and drilled to 4.2 kilometers depth and broke through into open space. Ground-penetrating radar showed a massive cavity with geometric walls and architectural features. When I finally made the descent, I understood why the first team came back speechless. We had discovered a city, not ruins, a perfectly preserved, intact city buried under 4 kilometers of ice. The architecture was unlike anything in human history. Massive buildings constructed from the same strange metal, arranged in perfect geometric patterns, visible from above. Everything was curved, flowing, organic, despite being clearly artificial. The city stretched for kilometers in every direction, covering at least 200 square kilometers, larger than Boston. Geological analysis suggested it had been buried for at least 15,000 years. 3 weeks into excavation, we found the first body in what appeared to be a central plaza, perfectly preserved by ice and unique atmospheric conditions. It was humanoid, but not human. Nearly 8 feet tall with elongated limbs and a skull structure clearly different from Homo sapiens. Larger cranium, bigger eye sockets, far greater bone density than any human remains. But this wasn't primitive. The body wore sophisticated textiles, jewelry made from the mysterious metal, and was surrounded by advanced technology. Over the following months, we found hundreds more bodies, an entire civilization preserved in eyes that had clearly been far more advanced than anything human civilization achieved until recently. Carbon dating confirmed they had lived 12,000 to 15,000 years ago, while humans were still primitive hunter-gatherers, barely inventing agriculture. The devices throughout the city were beyond our scientific understanding. They appeared electronic but weren't based on any materials we recognized. Many were still intact after millennia. The most significant discovery was the Central Archive, a massive repository of knowledge with walls covered in symbols, diagrams, star charts, and mathematical formulas. It took our linguistics team 8 months to begin deciphering the symbols. When we finally understood what we were looking at, the implications were terrifying. The archive contained detailed astronomical charts of not just our solar system, but dozens of others with remarkable accuracy. There were diagrams of planetary engineering, space travel depictions, and most disturbing, records of contact with civilizations from other worlds. This wasn't just advanced human civilization. This was evidence of an interplanetary society existing on Earth thousands of years before recorded human history. As we decoded more archives, a disturbing story emerged. This civilization hadn't died naturally. They had been destroyed, and they'd seen it coming. The final entries described the Great Silencing, an event that would strip away their technology, bury their cities, and reset Earth's civilization. The descriptions suggested this wasn't natural disaster, but intervention. According to the records, Earth had been managed. Periodically, when civilizations became too advanced and threatened some larger galactic order, they were eliminated. Cities buried, technology destroyed, the planet reset for new civilizations to develop. Their final warning was chilling. When the ice recedes and buried cities are revealed, know that your time of judgment approaches. The silencers watch, and they do not tolerate competitors. They had left this message specifically for whoever would discover their city, warning the next advanced civilization us about what was coming. By 2014, most of the original team had been reassigned or left. Those remaining worked under strict security, essentially comfortable prisoners. Dr. Elena Vasquez died first in 2015, apparent drug overdose in Denver. Elena was health-obsessed and training for a marathon. Dr. Sarah Kim died in a 2017 car accident. Single vehicle, late night, on a road she'd driven hundreds of times. Dr. Jennifer Walsh had a heart attack in 2019 at age 43. Perfect health, no family history. The autopsy found an extremely rare heart condition most cardiologists never encounter. 3 deaths in 4 years, all core team members, all under circumstances plausible enough to avoid suspicion, but unusual enough to send a message. Stay quiet or face consequences. I left the program in 2020, officially retiring due to health issues. For 4 years, I've lived under constant surveillance. Phones tapped, internet monitored, movements tracked. But I've been doing research. Using satellite imagery and climate data, I've tracked Antarctic ice melt patterns. The ice is melting much faster than official reports indicate, and several buried sites are becoming exposed. More importantly, I've monitored electromagnetic anomalies in discovery regions. Over 2 years, there have been increasing unexplained electromagnetic pulses, radio interference, and atmospheric disturbances centered around these locations. Something is responding to these buried cities being uncovered. Discovery itself seems to trigger responses from somewhere else. 3 months ago, Dr. Ahmed Hassan, our linguistics expert, contacted me. He'd been hiding since 2018, convinced he was being hunted. Ahmed had continued translation work in secret and made a breakthrough. The final archive symbols weren't just warnings, they were a countdown. Mathematical sequences corresponding to celestial events, tracking specific star systems and the planets. According to his calculations, the countdown is approaching 0. Based on astronomical data in the ancient symbols, we have less than 2 years before something happens. Ahmed was found dead 4 days after contacting me. Another suicide from a brilliant scientist with no depression history. But he'd sent me all his research first. Now I understand why this information has been so aggressively suppressed and why people are dying to keep it secret. The Antarctic civilization wasn't destroyed by natural disaster. According to their records, they were eliminated by the silencers, an advanced extraterrestrial civilization monitoring planetary development and intervening when species advance too quickly. Earth is essentially a quarantine zone, a planetary nursery where civilizations develop to certain points, but no further. When species develop space travel and pose potential galactic threats, they are silenced. The buried cities worldwide aren't archaeological sites. They're graveyards of previous civilizations that tried to break through barriers and were eliminated. As human civilization reaches the same technological milestones that triggered previous interventions, the countdown runs down. The electromagnetic anomalies, atmospheric disturbances, increasing UFO sightings, it's all connected. The silencers are returning, preparing for another reset. I'm telling this story because we have a right to know what's coming. If human civilization faces the same fate as those buried under Antarctic ice, we deserve to know. Government suppression and denial isn't protecting us. It's keeping us ignorant and unprepared. Maybe if enough people know the truth, we can respond differently than civilizations before us. Or maybe revealing this triggers the intervention they've tried to prevent. Maybe I'm signing humanity's death warrant. But I'd rather face truth than live in ignorance. I've prepared detailed documentation of everything. Photographs, symbol translations, electromagnetic readings. cover up evidence. I've hidden this in multiple locations for release if anything happens to me. The coordinates 75 degrees 15 minutes south, 112 degrees 6 minutes east are accurate. The city exists, preserved under ice. Satellite imagery can confirm electromagnetic anomalies. The evidence can be verified. We are not alone. We never have been. Earth is managed, and we're approaching the limits of what our managers will tolerate. The countdown is real. The threat is real. Time for secrecy is over. Maybe together, with full knowledge of what we face, we can find a different path forward. Maybe we can break the cycle that destroyed civilizations before us. Or maybe the countdown is inevitable. Our fate sealed when we achieved space travel and nuclear technology. Either way, humanity deserves truth. I'm Dr. Marcus Kellerman. I went to Antarctica to study ice and discovered that human history is a lie. We are not alone, and our time may be running out. This is my testimony, my warning, and possibly my final statement before they silence me. The truth is buried under ice, but ice is melting, truth is emerging, and the countdown approaches 0. What we do with that truth will determine whether humanity has a future or becomes another buried civilization. The choice is ours. The time is now. The clock is ticking.